Before our wedding anniversary, Ethan Carter took Sophia White's hand and walked into the upscale hotel downtown. I called him, but our 13-year-old son, Ryan, answered instead. His voice was ice cold. "Dad's busy. Don't bother us." Before I could respond, he blocked my number. That night, Ethan and Ryan, claiming I was always nagging, tied me up with a rope and left me out on the windy balcony of our penthouse for hours. Shivering and feverish, I finally understood. The next morning, I handed Ethan divorce papers and told him I was done. In his study, Ethan didn't even look up when I mentioned divorce. He kept typing, as if I hadn't spoken. I stood there for an hour, fighting dizziness from my fever, until he finally said, "Liz, it was just a little punishment for your behavior. You brought it on yourself. Don't overreact." For the first time, I didn't argue. I just said, "Sign the papers." Ethan shrugged and replied, "Ryan stays with me. You okay with that?" I nodded, and he raised an eyebrow, surprised by my calm. He called Ryan in and asked, "Son, after the divorce, who do you want to live with?" Ryan, a spitting image of his father down to the arrogant glint in his eyes, didn't hesitate. "I'm a Carter, not a Brown," he said coldly. Those words used to keep me up at night, crying until dawn. But after that night on the balcony, any love I had left for Ryan was gone. I didn't even glance at him as I turned and walked to the bedroom. 13 years of marriage, and I'd poured everything into Ethan and Ryan. My own belongings barely filled a suitcase. In under 10 minutes, I was packed. As I dragged my bag toward the front door, Ethan sat on the couch, scrolling through stock market updates. Without looking up, he said, "Call the driver when you're ready." "No need," I replied, pushing through the fever-induced haze to reach the door. Just then, a golf ball flew down from the second floor Ryan's game room where he practiced after homework and struck the back of my head. I collapsed, clutching my skull. Ethan and Ryan exchanged a knowing glance, pretending nothing happened, and left me there on the floor for half an hour, barely conscious. Eventually, soaked in cold sweat, I crawled out of the Carter house and dragged myself to the hospital for an 4 drip. After my fever broke, I boarded a Greyhound bus to Willow Creek, my hometown. 2 hours later, I stood at my grandma's doorstep. She didn't ask questions, just hugged me and started cooking my favorite mac and cheese with a side of cornbread. Ryan used to love it too when he was little, sometimes eating so much he'd cry for me to hold him. But by age 7, a Carter family friend told him mac and cheese is cheap comfort food, only for small-town folks. After that, he refused to let me bring Grandma's dishes into the house. Now, as I ate, tears mixed with the food, and I coughed to clear the lump in my throat. Grandma's weathered face lit up with a gentle smile. "Lizzie, slow down, honey. You'll choke." Her trembling hands braided my hair into the pigtails I loved as a kid. That night, for the first time in years, I slept deeply, dreaming of home. 2 days later, Ethan called, his voice flat. "Where's that silk shirt I bought in Italy last year?" Reflexively, I told him it was in the closet, second drawer, and suggested pairing it with the navy tie on the left. I heard him rustling through the clothes. "Not bad," he said, almost approvingly. "I'll wear it to tonight's client dinner." Then, after a pause, "Text me your address. I'll have someone drop off the anniversary jewelry I had custom made." I cut him off. "No thanks. Sophia's taste isn't mine." Sophia was Ethan's first love, his one that got away. Since she returned to town and became his personal assistant, she handled everything: his travel plans, his gift choices, his life. Mentioning her name made Ethan's tone turn icy. "Who are you to compare yourself to Sophia?" I laughed softly. "You're right. I don't measure up. That's why I don't want your gifts wasted on me." He didn't respond. Glancing at the clock, I added, tell Sophia to schedule a time for us to finalize the divorce at the courthouse. Text me the date. No need to call. As I moved to hang up, Ethan said, Ryan's here. He wants to talk. Before Ryan could speak, I ended the call as decisively as he'd blocked me. I put the phone down and joined Grandma to watch a rerun of an old sitcom, laughing like we used to. A week later, while waiting for a friend in a hotel lobby, I got a call from Ryan's school counselor. Ryan had gotten into a fight after a classmate asked about our divorce in front of the class. It's not a rumor, I said calmly. Ethan has custody. Contact him to handle this. The counselor hesitated, saying Ryan only gave them my number. I sighed and asked her to put the call on speaker in front of the injured student and their parents. Ryan, you were wrong to fight, I said evenly. You and your dad always said actions have consequences. Face them. And from now on, neither you nor Ethan should call me. We're done. I hung up, set my phone to do not disturb, and smiled at my best friend Lily and her daughter, Emma. When I was pregnant with Ryan, I'd hoped for a girl. Even though he was a boy, I cherished him, raising him with all my heart. Before he turned 6, Ryan would cry over a dead cartoon animal and plant a flower in the backyard to honor it. He'd sneak a daisy from preschool and tuck it into my hair. But after Ethan started taking him to the Carter family estate, the 8-year-old Ryan stopped crying, stopped smiling. He mocked Grandma's cozy ranch house, saying it was nothing compared to the city's glass skyscrapers. Once, he sneered, Mom, you grew up here? No wonder Grandma Carter thinks you're beneath us. Emma's bite of cheesecake snapped me out of my memories. Lily teased, eat that and you owe me. No skipping Emma's track meet this time. I hugged her, grinning. I'll be there, promise. Over a month later, Ethan and I ran into each other at the school sports field. Sophia was with him, her arm looped through his, smiling brightly. Liz, long time no see. Ryan didn't mention you'd be here. Emma, my goddaughter and the sprint club president, was competing today. I ignored Sophia and headed to the bleachers. Ethan followed, his tone mocking. Didn't you say you were cutting ties with Ryan? What's this, making a scene? I didn't bite. Please don't stand near me. I don't want people thinking we're still married. He frowned. What's that supposed to mean? I replied coolly exactly what I said. Ethan froze, his face darkening. Liz, you'd better know when to quit. I ignored him, cheering for Emma as the race began. Ryan, usually a top runner, tripped mid-race and fell hard. Ethan and I both rushed to the track. He got there first, barking questions at the school nurse about Ryan's injuries. Before she could answer, he turned to me, annoyed. Liz, are you just going to stand there? Your son's hurt. His words drew stares from teachers and students. I stayed calm, walking closer. Ryan's lips were pale, his knees scraped and bloody, his ankle twisted at an odd angle. He reached for me, eyes pleading. I felt nothing but irony. Why should I care? Last year, in his school essay, didn't he write that he was grown, that he didn't need a useless mom who only cooked and cleaned, who couldn't even play a piano tune? I stepped past him, heading to the girls' track, where I hugged Emma, beaming. Emma, you killed it! Gold medal! Let's go, your mom's waiting at the gate. She promised her favorite seafood tonight. In the cheerful chaos, I left the school without a backward glance. In the car, Ethan called, texting that it was about the divorce. I told Lily and Emma to head into the restaurant, promising to join them soon. I called Ethan back. He picked up instantly, voice frantic. Liz, where are you? I replied, doesn't matter. Just tell me when you're free for the courthouse. He hesitated, then softened his tone. Come to the hospital. Ryan's hurt bad, might not run again. The doctor needs to talk to us. I said calmly, if he can't run, he can't run. No need to update me. Ethan's voice rose. Liz, how can you say that? You're his mother. I leaned back in the car seat. Ethan, you're the one who asked Ryan who he wanted to live with. He chose you, called me an outsider. Now something happens, and you act like I abandoned him. Don't you see how hypocritical that is? Silence stretched on. Just as I was about to hang up, Ethan's voice came, low and pleading. Liz, name your terms. Just come to the hospital. You know I'm swamped, I can't stay there. I laughed coldly. My only term is to finalize the divorce. As for Ryan, hire a nurse. A crash sounded through the phone, Ethan throwing something in anger. Ryan's your son. You carried him for 9 months, gave birth to him. You want him to grow up in a broken home? I replied evenly, why not? You've got Sophia waiting in the wings. Ryan adores her, doesn't he? Make her his mom like he's always wanted. Ethan's voice cracked. You'd really let another woman raise your son? I didn't hesitate. With all my heart. 3 years ago, when Sophia's family business collapsed, Ethan ignored everyone's objections and hired her as his assistant, putting her in charge of his world. Last Mother's Day, Ryan ordered a bouquet of roses for her, skipping school to take her to lunch. They were the real family. I'd seen it clearly and chosen to move forward. Ethan kept talking, his usual cold demeanor gone, but I was starving and done. Monday, I said. If you don't show at the courthouse, we'll settle this in court. I hung up, powered off my phone, and joined Lily and Emma for dinner. Ethan didn't show on Monday. I hired a lawyer and let them handle the divorce. A month later, on a golden Friday afternoon, I stood in Grandma's backyard, watching the sunset. Emma tugged my arm, grinning. Grandma's got dinner ready. Let's go! We headed inside, eager to show Grandma our basket of apples from the orchard, but her expression stopped me. Following her gaze, I saw Ryan in the living room. Grandma recognized him from old photos, though I hadn't told her everything. Her wise eyes saw through it all. Lizzie, take Emma to wash the apples. I'll wait, she said softly, brushing dirt from my cheek. I nodded and walked to the living room. Ryan struggled to stand, his leg in a brace, a small duffel bag beside him. Why are you here? I asked, voice steady. The air grew heavy. Ryan's fingers dug into his jeans, nails drawing blood, a nervous habit. I used to rush to him, hold his hands, make him laugh. Not anymore. He waited, but I didn't move. Finally, he muttered, I'm hurt. The doctor said I need my mom to recover. A flimsy lie. I sat down, unfazed. I know your dad sent you. Don't worry, I won't bother you. Ryan shook his head fast. No, I wanted to come. I paused, then said, doesn't matter whose idea it was. Your dad has custody. You two are the real family now. Ryan's eyes flashed with defiance and pain. But you're still my mom. I didn't react. His voice trembled. Legally, I'm always your son. I replied coldly, yes, I gave birth to you. I poured every ounce of love into raising you. But you never deserved it. Remember last year at your award ceremony? You won the national math competition, named Student of the Year. The school said parents would present the awards. I didn't want to embarrass you, so I went to a salon, got my hair done, dressed up, but when I arrived, you brought Sophia on stage saying this is my mom. When the teacher looked at me, confused, you smirked and said, Aunt Liz is just our housekeeper. She shouldn't dress up for events like this, it's embarrassing. Sophia took my place, hugged you, posed for photos. That picture's still on your dad's desk. Ryan's face paled. I continued, you've always been ashamed of me. You think I'm not good enough. So let's be clear, I, Elizabeth Brown, am no longer your mother. You, Ryan Carter, are no longer my son. You said it yourself, you're a Carter, I'm a Brown. We're done. I walked to the door and pointed outside. Leave. Don't come back. This house isn't for strangers. Ryan's hands shook, fists clenched. He didn't move. I grabbed him, ignoring his cry of Mom, my leg hurts, and dragged him to the gate, tossing his bag after him. Ethan stepped out from behind a tree looking shaken. Liz, Ryan's been having nightmares. He misses you. Can he stay a few days? I didn't waver, no. Ryan glanced at the kitchen where Emma peeked out and shouted, why does she get to stay here and I don't? I'm your real son. I stared him down. You think you can compare to my Emma? She's welcome here as long as she wants, and if she calls me Mom, I'm her mom. You? I leaned closer. I'm done with you. The moment you chose your dad, you stopped being my son. Ryan, who'd called crying weak since age 7, let tears spill. Ethan, defeated, helped him up. Liz, why are you so cruel to your own son? He asked hoarsely. I slammed the gate shut, the sound echoing in the yard. That night a storm rolled in, thunder shaking the house. Grandma grabbed a flashlight and an umbrella, wanting to bring Ryan a blanket. I gently stopped her, tucked her into bed, and stayed by her side. The next morning Ethan pounded on the gate, begging me to check on Ryan. He's burning up, vomiting, dizzy. The doctors can't handle it. Grandma, hard of hearing, didn't notice. Emma and I, with noise-canceling earbuds, slept through it. I woke at noon, saw Ethan's car was gone, and smiled. Humming, I took Emma to Grandma's garden to pick strawberries. At school, Emma shared her haul with her dorm mates, who squealed, these strawberries are huge. Sweeter than store-bought. Emma and her mom picked them at her great-grandma's. A girl asked, can we come next time? I nodded, and cheers erupted. Standing under the sunset-painted school corridor, I gazed at the open sky, remembering who I was, Dr. Elizabeth Brown, Ph.D. in agricultural science. 13 years ago, I was a bright-eyed grad student lost in research and papers. Then I got pregnant with Ryan. I wasn't sure about keeping him, but Ethan swore he'd die without this child. He proposed on one knee, slid a diamond ring on my finger, and I naively stepped into the Carter family's world. Everyone said the Browns had hit the jackpot. Ethan promised I could return to my career when Ryan was older. But years passed, and when I mentioned going back to school, the Carters scoffed. A Carter boy can't have a mom digging in the dirt like a farmer. Ryan echoed them, Mom, Grandma Carter says marrying Dad was your biggest win. Stop embarrassing us with your weird hobbies. My phone buzzed, snapping me back. Ethan's name flashed. I blocked it. My lawyer was handling the divorce, and I'd told Ethan to talk to them. If he didn't cooperate, I was ready to fight. In January, a storm tore through collapsing Grandma's old shed. We decided to rebuild the house. While clearing out my parents' old room, I found a stuffed bunny, Mr. Rabbit, sewn by my mom. I smiled, about to call Grandma, when a familiar voice stopped me. That bunny looks familiar, Ethan said, his tone falsely warm. I turned, my smile gone. Ethan, do I need to call the cops for trespassing? He faltered, touching the wall. Liz, I know you hate me, but we were married 13 years. Give me a chance to clear up the misunderstanding. I stared, unmoved. There's no misunderstanding. He stammered, "That day at the hotel with Sophia you didn't stop me. If you had, you'd know we were just meeting a client. I can get the security footage." He reached for his phone. I shook my head. "Don't bother." "What?" "Whatever's between you and Sophia is your business." "I don't care." The divorce papers were drafted long before I saw them at the hotel. I'd planned to wait until after our anniversary, but life had other plans. Ethan stood frozen. "Liz, this matters. You can't think that of me." I started to leave, but he grabbed my wrist. "I fired Sophia. I've never begged anyone, not even my parents, but I'm begging you. Don't divorce me." His eyes were desperate, but mine were empty. "Ethan," I said softly, "I don't love you anymore. It's over." I pulled free and walked out. Ryan stood there staring at Mr. Rabbit, tears welling. "That's the bunny Grandma made me. I thought I lost it." I shook my head. "You didn't lose it. You threw it in the trash when you were 8. Mr. Rabbit was my mom's gift to Ryan, sewn during her cancer battle. It was his comfort at night. At 5, he cried when its ear tore, begging me to fix it. But at 8, after Sophia called stuffed animals childish, he ripped it apart and buried it in the garbage. I spent hours digging through trash to save it, sobbing over my mom's last gift. That day I spanked Ryan and made him stand in the corner. That's when he started pulling away. Now Ryan reached for the bunny, voice breaking. "Mom, I need it. I can't sleep." I stepped back. "Don't touch my mother's memory with your filthy hands." Sophia's voice cut in, dramatic and uninvited. "Liz, are you insane? Just because Ethan doesn't want you, you're taking it out on his son." I walked up and slapped her. She gasped, raising her hand to hit back, but I slapped her again. Ethan stepped between us. "Calm down, Liz." Sophia screamed. "She hit me." Ethan sighed. "I fired you, Sophia. It's not about Liz. Leave." Sophia, stunned, cursed them both and stormed out. Ethan and Ryan looked at me, hoping I'd relent. Ethan tried again. "Liz, we drove 2 hours. We haven't eaten. Can you make Ryan a sandwich?" I paused, then said, "Wait outside." I didn't cook. Instead, I grabbed a contract from my dresser and a bag of bread. Handing them to Ethan, I said, "This contract severs all legal ties between me and Ryan. I'm done being his mom, and he won't owe me anything in the future. It protects him." Ryan collapsed to his knees, sobbing. "Mom, I don't want to lose you. I miss your cooking, your care. I'm useless without you. Don't leave me." Ethan stared, lost. Ryan turned to him, yelling, "Dad, you said she was just mad. You lied. Tell her I'm sorry, that I'll be good." Ethan pleaded, "Liz." I cut him off. "Take Ryan and go. Never come back." I closed the gate, ignoring their pain, and joined Grandma, who was mending Mr. Rabbit under a sunbeam. I poured us tea, opened my laptop, and got to work. 5 months later, I picked up Emma from school. She chattered big news at school. A 9th grader, Ryan fought with his dad, who's always drunk. He jumped from the 4th floor during night study. He's in the ICU, might not make it. They canceled my piano lessons for therapy sessions. I smoothed her hair, smiling. "Don't be foolish like that, boy, Emma. Life's long. No mistake is too big to overcome." She hugged me. "With you and Mom, I'm not scared." I laughed. "Good girl. What's for dinner? Let's go." Streetlights flickered as I drove my silver sedan into the city's hum. The road was always there, waiting for me to take it.